I knew my father would be hanged. These are the chilling words of the son of a senior Nazi, sentenced to death at the Nuremberg trials. When we talk about World War II, names like Goebbels, Himmler, and Goering often come to mind, and we picture them as dehumanized monsters. However, the truth is that beyond their roles as war criminals, they were also family men. Their children lived in castles, had servants, and regarded Germany and occupied territories as their private domain. But what happened to them after the war was over? Some chose to disown their past, while others did not. Some condemned their fathers, while others continued to worship them unconditionally until the end. Here's what the children of the most notorious Nazi leaders did after the war. First, we have Gudrun Himmler, the daughter of the most prominent Nazi leaders, Heinrich Himmler. Her father was the mastermind behind the Holocaust and the head of the ruthless SS, and played a central role in the horrors of World War II. Under his command, the SS transformed into a heartless force responsible for unspeakable crimes against humanity, including the operation of concentration camps where innocent lives were shattered. One of the most infamous camps was Auschwitz, where Himmler's orders caused the death of millions, mostly Jews, but also Romani people, Polish civilians, political dissidents, and LGBTQ+ individuals. In the middle of all this tragedy, Gudrun was born, and she got the nickname Nazi Princess. Even after the war was over, Gudrun held on to her father's memory strongly, like a cherished family heirloom. Her memories take us to haunting places. From her childhood visits to Dachau, where prisoners suffered, to a brief memory of a garden that once symbolized her innocence. She proudly watched her father's rise in the Nazi ranks, even calling Adolf Hitler Uncle Hitler. Gifts from Hitler, like a doll and chocolates, made her loyalty to her father's cause even stronger. Believing her father was innocent, Gudrun spent her life trying to clear his name. Her home in Munich became a shrine to his legacy. She started organizations and supported former Nazi soldiers, even after her group was banned in 1994. Gudrun's personal life showed her unwavering loyalty. She married Wolf Burwitz, a strong Nazi supporter, and they raised their family in the shadow of her father's dark past. Her controversial journal reached its peak when she joined the secretive Silent Aid group, helping former SS members, including notorious figures like Klaus Barbie and Martin Sommer, avoid justice. Much like Gudrun Himmler, who supported her father's infamous reputation, there was another person named Etta Goering, the daughter of Hermann Goering, Hitler's right-hand man. She was born into a world of power and privilege. Hermann Goering, who led the German Air Force, the Luftwaffe, and was Hitler's chosen successor, held a high position within the Nazi regime. However, he faced the consequences of his actions after the war, being convicted of war crimes and crimes against humanity, and eventually ending his own life. During her childhood, Etta received plenty of love and extravagant gifts from her affectionate father. He went to great lengths to make her happy, even buying a remarkable 50-meter model of Frederick the Great's palace. However, as the war came to an end, Etta's life took a different turn. She pursued a career as a law clerk, worked in a hospital, and dedicated herself to caring for her mother. Her later years saw her withdrawing from public life. Despite the overwhelming evidence against her father, Etta openly refused to believe in his guilt. Her unwavering support for him continued until her death in 2018, echoing the memories of her childhood with a loving and doting father. Now let's turn our attention to Nicholas Frank. His father, Hans Frank, was infamously known as the Butcher of Poland. Hans Frank, Hitler's personal legal advisor and the governor of Nazi-occupied Poland, was responsible for the suffering and death of countless Poles, earning himself a dark reputation. Like Hermann Goering and others, Hans Frank faced the consequences of his actions and was eventually hanged as a war criminal. Within the Frank family, there was chaos. Hans and his wife, Brigitte Herbst, had 5 children, but their marriage was marked by unhappiness and attempted divorce. The fate of the Frank children varied. Sigrid, a staunch Nazi supporter, left for South Africa, while another daughter, Brigitte, tragically took her own life in 1981. Michael and Norman, Hans' sons, passed away in 1990 and 2010 respectively. Nicholas Frank, the only surviving child of Hans Frank, took a different path. He confronted his father's crimes head-on by writing a powerful book titled The Father, A Settling of Accounts, where he openly criticized his father for his terrible acts against humanity. Nicholas carries a haunting reminder of human evil with him at all times, a photograph of his father taken after his hanging. Moving on, we come to Albert Speer, Hitler's favorite architect and a significant figure in the Nazi regime. As Hitler's close confidant and the Minister of Armaments and War Production, Speer used forced labor and secret factories to boost Germany's military production. However, his actions led to his conviction at the Nuremberg trials in 1946, where he was found guilty of war crimes and crimes against humanity, resulting in a 20-year prison sentence. Within his own family, Speer remained distant and disconnected, even after his release from prison, refusing to establish meaningful connections with his children. Nevertheless, his eldest son, Albert Speer Jr., inherited his father's architectural talent and achieved significant success as an architect. He played a leading role in designing venues for the 2008 Olympics in Beijing, China. Throughout his life, Albert Speer Jr. struggled with his father's dark legacy and sought to distance himself from the crimes committed. Hilda Speer, another of Albert Speer's children, took a different path, dedicating herself to helping victims of anti-Semitism and Nazi atrocities as a prominent politician. She worked to distance herself from her father's action and promote healing in the aftermath of Hitler's regime. Marguerite Speer, an archaeological student turned photographer, also found her own way of dealing with her father's emotional distance. In her book titled Are You Speer's Daughter?, she explored the complexities of her relationship with her father, shedding light on the impact of his emotional absence. Arnold Speer, a community doctor, chose a completely different career path, focusing on healing and providing care to others in his community. Through his profession, he contributed to the betterment of society, seeking to make a positive impact that stood in contrast to his father's actions. Now let's talk about Martin Bormann Jr., the son of Martin Bormann, Hitler's private secretary. Bormann had immense power and played a significant role in implementing Nazi policies, including those leading to the persecution and murder of millions. He also manipulated German industries to bolster the war effort. Bormann's family was complicated. He had 10 children with his wife Gerda Buck, but he was known for his extramarital affairs. Among his children, Martin Adolf Bormann Jr., the eldest son, initially embraced Nazism, but later sought redemption by becoming a priest. He faced hardships in Congo but believed it was God's punishment for his father's sins. He eventually married and dedicated his life to educating others about Nazi atrocities. Lastly, let's touch on the children of Joseph Goebbels, the notorious minister of propaganda. He actively supported Hitler's twisted ideology, including anti-Semitism and the Holocaust. Joseph and Magda Goebbels had 6 children and chose to stay with Hitler in his bunker in Berlin at the end of World War II, where they made a chilling decision. They administered cyanide to their 6 children and then took their own lives. This dark chapter in history raises critical questions about the choices individuals make and the impact of extremist ideologies on families. It reminds us of the dark depths to which blind allegiance can lead and the tragic consequences that can result. So, what do you think? Should children be held responsible for their parents' actions, even when those actions are as terrible as those of Nazi leaders? Share in the comments. If you enjoyed this history exploration, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating World War II history. Thank you for watching.